Hey guys, this is Old Soul New Life with a new video. This video will be covering the third eye, or the pineal gland. We, as witches, it's essential to have that activated and to maintain the activation and maintain the energy it holds and maintain all of our chakras, which I'll be doing another video next week on. But it's important to activate it, and through that, the most efficient way to jump ahead is to meditate. So with that being said, I'm just going to dive into what our third eye is, or our pineal gland. It's located at the very center of your eyebrows, right around here. And basically it's a neurotransmitter for your mood. So it kind of dictates your mood through your through subconscious, through what your subconscious absorbs. It's also a producer of melatonin and serotonin. It's what kind of activates your dreams right before you go to sleep. So it's a very complex organ that kind of is made out of the same muscle and material that your eyeballs are made out of. It's the same material, and it's right here, and part of the gland circles right around towards the back of your head and towards a few inches away from your occipital bone right here, just kind of within the crevice of your brain. And it's a very small gland, but it is sometimes kind of referred to as a second brain, or it dictates our intuition. And what it is it holds a reservoir of water that has crystals with piezoelectric properties, causing a piezoluminescence, meaning that the third eye picks up light, and it has kind of a photoreceptor. So it's an absorber of light, and through that it can kind of tell you, or show you different colors and numbers and symbols. And if you get really kind of good at practicing meditation and things like that, it can show you different visions and different prophecies and things you never really kind of thought you'd be open to seeing. So our third eye governs our consciousness, and it's a light receptor. And in some theories, a change of consciousness is due to the light. So a lot of spiritual workers, light workers, are saying things about like the new earth and how, the event and things like that. And in my personal opinion, I believe that has a lot to do with it. The earth as a whole is shifting, and scientifically and spiritually, but it's shifting physically, and that's causing the light source to change a little bit, which could go either way, but it's definitely a chance for humanity to wake up as a whole and start activating their pineal glands, because that's kind of what separates us from being primitive. In most beliefs, the third eye, when activated, can cause you to see into higher realms, or connects you to higher realms of thought. So it's basically a portal to higher realms. So once you get in touch with the third eye, you activate it, and you know how to manage the symptoms of activation, then you open that portal and you're able to see things you never even thought you'd see before, and a lot of things start to become clear. People start to become different, and you start to see them for their true color, because naturally you're able to instinctually figure out if that person's going to be, harmful to you, or if you want them around in your company. And that's all on intuition. That's what your third eye is about, is intuition. So, in most Indian beliefs, that they call it the third eye chakra, and you can kind of activate that through meditation and yoga in that belief. And also prayer is a big part of it. So whether you're Christian, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Wiccan, whether you're a witch, whether you're practicing the craft, prayers hold a lot of energy, a lot of good high energy. So it's very, very good to sit there and pray. If anything, if you don't if you're not open to the whole spiritualist side of it, if anything, it kind of helps you talk to yourself and sort your subconscious out as well as your conscious mind too. So it's a really good thing to, meditate and pray. I do the same, simultaneously. I'll meditate and I'll also pray. So it's definitely a good thing to practice as far as activation of your third eye. In Christian culture, the third eye is theorized to be represented by the eye of the Lamb. So the Christians also have this belief, but it is kind of theorized in a different way. It's kind of presented in a different way, as many different worldly religions will present it in a different way. But it's up to you to kind of make that summarization and in a nutshell, kind of conclusion to yourself and see what's right for you. But as far as across the board, it's been showing in cultures that the third eye is prevalent, it's very real, and it does connect you to the spiritual and higher realms. So it's very important to maintain it. When opening the third eye or becoming more aware of it, you start to see beyond the third dimensional physical realm. You start to open yourself up to discernment. You gain more insight on what is right for your being and what is not. It opens up a branch of intuition that we all have, and causes you to think a little clearer and get you on track with your spiritual guides. So it's something that we all have. We are all psychic. We all have this ability to open this third eye. It's something that we as humans are gifted with. So it's important to utilize it and to make sure that once you have activated it, you don't approach the higher realms with fear or doubt or any type of negative connotation, anything like that. And make sure that you're, cleansed. And I'll get into that just in just a second. It's always important to cleanse yourself, sage yourself, even saying like a cleansing prayer right before you meditate. That is just as effective. As long as the intent is in there, then you're good. But I use sage just because I know that sage has a high protective frequency, so it's going to attract that type of frequency towards me. And it's also got a very clearing frequency too. It's got a very clearing vibe, so that's what I like to start. I like to be open to the answers. And once I activated my third eye, and I did that every day, I saged myself and I meditated for about 30 minutes every day, answers started presenting themselves to me. So it was very, very, it's a very hard practice. You definitely have to commit to the meditation every day. But once you do, you'll be able to understand what is right for you and what is wrong for you in your soul's path. You'll be able to ask guidance and understand guidance a little better. And you'll be more aware of it. Because you're always given guidance, but you just need to open your eyes and be more aware of the guidance and do your research about the guidance that you're given. So that being said, the third eye is also responsible, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's responsible for producing DMT naturally. DMT is, if you've ever seen that Netflix series, The Spirit Molecule, DMT is a molecule that every living organic being has. It is the molecule that is believed to connect every living being together. So we produce this naturally. And you can do this through breathing techniques. There's a pranayama technique called the breath of fire, where it kind of activates your third eye fast and produces your own DMT. So you will see the actual sacred geometry behind the scenes. You will see the grid behind the scenes. The belief of the world is kind of based on a geometrical structure. You'll see that. And, some people do see different things based on, where they're at, what their environment is when they do it. But for the most part, everyone can really conclude that I've talked to that DMT is... when you do start to kind of produce your own, you will see a grid-like structure. You will see shapes beyond belief. You will start seeing numbers. You will start seeing equations that you've never even thought about before. So it's a very complex thing, and you can produce your own through practice, like I said, of pranayama, breathing techniques, and of meditation. So once you're activated, once you've done the meditation for, I would say, over 21 days, because that is when your brain starts to form an actual habit in the physical reality. Once you know that how to know that your third eye is activated is you will feel a pulsating feeling, or you'll feel a tingling. Sometimes mine itches. You'll feel just kind of an ache a little bit, a kind of pulsating ache right here, right between the eyes. It's the most odd feeling, and sometimes in some cases you can actually hear the cracking of it decalcifying, which I'll get into in a minute. So there's many different symptoms that people experience whenever they're opening or activating their third eye chakra, but for the most part, it usually is a tingling, itching sensation. It's kind of your body's detecting that something's there, something's trying to come through. So it's trying to express itself in a form of resistance by aching, tingling, itching and things like that. So it's really, really an odd experience. Definitely in my personal experience, in my personal life, it's been a very odd experience, because once it is activated and you start going through life, and you ask for guidance and you do your spiritual work, you will, when you're being guided, you'll feel it pulsate. And it kind of reminds me of Harry Potter a little bit, because you feel it pulsate, you feel it tingle, and you feel it kind of itch a little bit, and that's kind of the spirit telling you that, there's something here, do your research, look into this, there's something here. So that's just what it is, and that's what happens when it's activated. As far as activating it, there's numerous ways, like I've talked about. There's pranayama, breathing techniques that you can use, and it's called the breath of fire. And what the breath of fire is it's basically it's an emphasis on your exhale. So you sit up straight with your shoulders back like this, and you take 3 deep breaths. From your belly. And really drink the breath in. And then you begin. So you're going to want to make your inhales shorter than your exhales, and you're really going to want to push out your exhales. And it looks a little goofy, but it's something like this. And you can literally feel your stomach kind of fold in as you breathe, and it's contracting in and air and oxygen in and out of your nostril into your into right in this space. It's kind of giving it the oxygen it needs to process things and do things the way it's supposed to. Another thing is, and like I said, this is pretty much the biggest thing, meditation. You have to set aside 30 minutes to an hour a day if you're really, really wanting to dive into this. It's really helped me kind of get over different toxic habits and things like that, because I've really wanted to experience being activated, being enlightened, and I knew that was the first step. So I cleanse my auric field with sage every time I meditate. But like I said, you can also do a prayer. A prayer is just as effective. And when you are doing this spiritual work, it's a very touchy realm. So you have to make sure that you're protected and that you have cleansed yourself purely. You can't reach higher dimensional beings if your auric field has dusty shit in it. So you have to be able to cleanse your auric field, cleanse your thoughts, empty your mind, empty everything. That's why sage is good, because sage clears literally every single vibration in the room to make room for new. So that's one way. And basically what you do is, during the meditation, So you cover your eyes and you place your middle finger right above your eyes. You place your index finger right at a brow point. And you place your ring finger and pinky finger right on your cheekbone. And then from there, you plug your ears and you make the sound. You inhale deeply, and then you make the sound. And you do that for about 2 minutes, and you can kind of slip into a meditation there, because that is a very kind of zenned out. Obviously, I'm zenned out now just doing it. It's a very harmonizing frequency to be able to kind of reverberate in your head and have your neurons hang on to that. So it's a very extensive practice. You really have to focus, and you really have to train your brain to kind of rewire itself. Another thing that I do when I meditate after doing the Om mantra is I repeat affirmations. So I say things like, I'm connected to my inner guidance, I follow my inner wisdom, I'm connected to the divine being, I carry ancient wisdom, things like that. I repeat it 3 times, but you guys can do however much you want. And it's just awesome, because it's kind of rewiring your brain in total. It's pretty cool that you have the power to rewire things like that just by simply speaking. Another thing that we talked about was binaural beats. Binaural beats are really, really effective. You want to make sure that it's a credible source, though, because some of them do cause migraines. They just kind of send frequency to your forehead instead of kind of activating that third eye chakra like it's supposed to. But other than that, it's really good to I usually do the meditation with binaural beats, and then I'll repeat to myself the affirmations. So I'm really making sure that those neurotransmitters are getting the deal, getting that I want to open my third eye, I want to reach higher realms, and I really need guidance and spiritual protection or whatever. Those are just a few of the techniques. There's 1,000,000,001 videos around the internet, and different documentaries and things like that you can look into to activate this pineal gland. Yoga is a really big thing too. Yoga is probably my number 1 reason for my spiritual awakening. It's activated all of my chakras, not just my third eye, but it's activated all my chakras. So I make sure to do that every day, because in all reality, that breath is what connects you to the higher realms. Being present and inhaling and exhaling is what connects you, is what opens that portal, and what activates that third eye more than anything. So if you do yoga and then you're putting the movement behind it, which is also intent on breathing, intent on life, then you're really activating all of your chakras and making sure they're really shining bright. I mean, yoga is pretty much a cure-all medicine for me. So it's definitely been part of my spiritual journey, if not the foundation of it. I think that once we go more into the chakras, we can go into a meditation I can let you know about the heart chakra, but there's also a meditation that where you can visualize basically a blue light right at the center of your eye, and you just focus on that for 15 or 20 minutes and focus on your breath. And by doing that, your brain will slip into different thoughts and things like that, but you welcome them and you let them pass. So join me in my second video where I'll be covering crystals and fasting and different forms of activation still, and how to maintain that activation. Join me on my second video here. Thank you.